All right, we are doing this one on duckpin bowling. I am doing this because I am a Marylander and I recently was informed or otherwise found out that apparently duckpin is only really a Maryland thing. Um, I suppose we'll see if that's true. Well, hopefully, we'll see if that's true in this article. I, I've grown up in Maryland my whole life. I never have thought anything other, or I've never thought anything weird about duckpin bowling. I always just thought that it was like bowling for kids, because like a little kid's not going to be able to get their hands around a full size bowling ball. So I just figured, like everywhere, no matter where you go, they're going to have duckpin bowlings. And in my mind, I think I conceptualized it as like playing duck duck goose. You do that when you're a kid. So like the duck, it's the little duck, the little duckling, whatever. And so that's talking about little kids, and then the pin. I don't know. That's just a name. So I always just thought that duck pin bowling meant the little kids bowling, and that adults can do too if they want to have fun, like whatever. But yeah, just always thought it was for kids because it's smaller. But I was talking to a roommate, and they're like, "Yep, never heard of it." Sorry, a roommate that's not from around here. So yeah, kind of wild to me. Anyway, let's read this. Duckpin bowling is a variation of the sport of bowling. Duckpin balls are 4 3/4 inches or 12 centimeters to 5 inches, 12.7 centimeters in diameter, and they weigh 3 pounds and 6 ounces to 3 pounds and 12 ounces each, or that's 1.5 to 1.7 kilograms each, and they lack finger holes. They are thus significantly smaller than those used in 10-pin bowling, but are slightly larger and heavier than those used in candlepin bowling. Duck pins, although arranged in a triangle identical to that used in 10-pin bowling, which I'm guessing 10-pin is standard bowling. Yeah, it looks like it is. Yeah, I want to say it is. Um, arranged in a triangle identical to that used in 10-pin bowling. However, they are shorter, slightly thinner, and lighter than their 10-pin equivalents, which makes it more difficult for the smaller ball to achieve a strike. For this reason, similar to candlepin bowling, the bowler is allowed 3 rolls per frame. Which I will say, all of those things, like I thought that the pins were just smaller because it's smaller stuff. And like, yeah, I knew it was harder to bowl a strike. I just thought the 3 roll was like a handicap for the kids and all, and whatever. To start off with some pictures here. Here are photos of duck pins from the hallway of Action Duckpin Bowl in Fountain Square, Indianapolis, Indiana. Which the fact that this is from Indiana makes me think maybe it isn't a Maryland specific thing. Maybe it's like this general eastern region. I don't know. But yeah, you can see they're a little shorter, stouter, little wide. Here's a duck pin bowling ball in hand to show scale. Now I wish we had a quarter in the dude's hand so we could, or rather a banana for scale so we could see how big his hand is. And here's a true scale diagram of duck pins and a duck pin bowling ball on a bowling ball lane, if that is useful for anyone. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, sorry, one more picture. Diagram showing relative size of bowling balls and bowling pins for 3 popular types of bowling. Horizontal blue lines are 1 inch apart vertically. These horizontal lines. So yeah, there's your normal bowling ball, bowling pin, duck pin. Pardon me, duck pin smaller, candle pin tall and thin like a candle. We don't have that around here, to the best of my knowledge. At least, it's if we do, it's not common. So rules. Ooh, I see Baltimore Orioles. Just peeking ahead. Anyway, rules. Duck pin bowling has rules similar to 10-pin bowling. Pardon me 1 second. I feel like my nose is about to bleed. No, it's not. Okay, we're good. Woo! Duckpin bowling has rules similar to 10-pin bowling. In a 10-frame game, bowlers try to knock down pins in the fewest rolls per frame. Bowlers have 3 balls per frame instead of 2 as in 10-pin bowling to knock over a set of 10 pins. If a bowler knocks down all 10 pins with their first roll in a frame, it is scored as a strike. If all the pins are knocked down in 2 rolls, the bowler has made a spare. If all the pins are knocked down in 3 rolls, it is scored as a 10, as in candle pins, with no bonus. Scored as a 10, as in candle pins, so same thing there, with no bonus. So I guess you get a bonus with a spare, which I didn't know because I've never cared too much about bowling. Yeah, I usually just roll the ball. If pins are still standing after the third ball, the bowler gets 1 point for each pin knocked down. In the case of a strike, the bowler gets 10 points. No, wait, I did know that a strike and a spare is that there is a bonus in there. It just never really registered. Oh well. In the case of a strike, the bowler gets 10 points plus the total number of pins knocked down with the next 2 balls rolled. Okay, so for a maximum of 30 points. So if you get a strike each round, you get 30 points. Or each frame, I guess. No, each frame? Each ball rolled. I don't know bowling terminology. I'm going to end up confusing people. So let me just read the article. In the case of a spare, the bowler gets 10 points plus the number of pins knocked down with the next ball for a maximum of 20 points. Okay, so just whenever you knock them all, it resets and you get the opportunity for more points there. That's, I guess, the bonus. If it takes 3 balls to knock down all 10 pins, the bowler gets 10 points with no bonus. A bowler's final score is the sum of the points earned over 10 frames. A spare or strike in the 10th frame earns 1 or 2 rolls respectively. Hold on. Bowler's final score is the sum of the points earned over 10. Oh, okay. So they take 10 at bats. I don't know, 10 times going up to the lane. A spare or strike in the 10th frame earns 1 or 2 rolls respectively. Okay. The maximum possible score of 300 points, which is accomplished by rolling 12 strikes in a row, has never been achieved under official conditions. Yee doggy. Duckpin bowling lanes are the same size as 10-pin bowling lanes, but with smaller gutters. According to the National Duckpin Bowling Congress (NDBC), regulation duckpin bowling is played in 9 states, shown here in green. Non-regulation mini duckpin bowling is played in additional locations. So, these are where regulation duckpin bowling is played. Let me see if I can name them all. Ooh, sorry, I don't know. Is this Ohio? I'm terrible with my U.S. states. Ohio, maybe. North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Vermont. No, this is Massachusetts. This is Oh no. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Let me look it up because now I'm a little bit embarrassed, but it's okay. Oh, stupid dum dum! It's Connecticut. Oh, and stupid or dum dum. They literally said Indiana is where those duck pin things were. This is Indiana. This is Ohio, right? Yeah, yeah. So regulate if you want to play some regulation duck pin, you go to Indiana, you go to North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. History. Here's the good stuff. The origin of duckpin bowling has been disputed. A commonly recited assertion is that the sport began in Baltimore around 1900 at a bowling, billiards, and pool hall owned by future Baseball Hall of Famers John McGraw and Wilbur Robinson, both of the old 1882 to 1899 Baltimore Orioles. Let's see the O's. Oh, that's really the old one. Yeah. Okay. John McGraw looks something like that. Wilbert Robinson, like something like that. Uncle Robbie. One such claim is reported in the Pittsburgh Press of March 3rd, 1929. However, research has since found references to duckpin dating to the early 1890s in New Haven, Boston, and Lowell, Massachusetts. Author Howard W. Rosenberg wrote in 2005 that his research showed the sport was around at least as of 1894, and probably well before that, probably well before 1894. With former Duckpin News editor, Duckpin News. Yep, that's a niche crowd. Editor Stacy Carden stating in a 2016 publication that Rosenberg found an 1892 reference to duckpin in the Boston Globe. Duckpins was not an organized sport until the National Duckpin Bowling Congress, NDBC, was founded in 1927. That's still quite a history there, 1927, and yet it's still not insanely popular. Why is that? That was sarcasm. Sorry if you're really passionate about duckpin bowling, but I don't know. It seems to be overshadowed a little bit by normal bowling and then any other sport. Which is not to say it shouldn't be. I mean, hey, we've got curling too. You see people curling, it's just like bowling on ice. Curlers are probably mad at me now. Anyway, in 1953, submarine designer Ken Sherman developed the first automatic duckpin pin setter. Its design having over 1,000 moving parts. Okay, Mr. Submarine Designer, keep things simple on land, will you? Sherman's refusal to sell his patent to 10-pin competitor Brunswick. I wonder if they're founded in Brunswick, Maryland. Nope, founded in Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay, oh well. Maybe that's something to read later. Or maybe forget about it. I know Brunswick makes, well, of course, 10-pin competitor. Well, no, this is a person, well, a corporation. I used to own my own bowling ball. I know, very cool for somebody that doesn't bowl, and it was branded Brunswick. Sold it for $10. Whew. Anyway, 10-pin competitor Brunswick caused him to refusal to sell the patent to Brunswick caused him to lack corporate investment needed to manufacture large numbers of duckpin pinsetters. Further, no parts for the Sherman pinsetter have been manufactured since 1973, so that anyone wanting to open a new bowling center must cannibalize parts. Golly, I wonder if my local bowling alley has one of these old pinsetters. If it does, that's kind of cool. Maybe I need to go there now and inspect the duckpin lanes. Unless someone else has come out with a new pinsetter. The absence of new pinsetter machines is thought to curtail. Oh, okay. Well, there's our answer. It's thought to curtail growth of the sport, and spare parts must be scavenged or obtained from alleys that have closed. Only one company makes duckpins, and it only leases them. Wow. They're really shooting themselves in the foot. Just like they don't look that hard to make. Just get some hardwood or whatever and, lathe it. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it. I don't know. The executive director of the National Duckpin Bowling Congress said in 2016 that there were 41 Congress-certified duckpin bowling alleys, down from nearly 450 in 1963. In comparison, there were about 4,000 10-pin centers in 2018. The Baltimore Sun reported in 2017 that the number of professional duckpin bowlers is down by more than 90%. Man, it's a dying sport. In 1982, the Women's National Duckpin Association, WNDA, was formed, a little late to the party, conducting tournaments for women to compete professionally, with Ladies Professional Duckpin Tournament, LPDT, events extending back at least as early as 1974. And here we have January 2nd, 1893 newspaper article from the Boston Daily Globe describing bowling fever, including a mention of duckpin bowling. Bowling fever has struck the city and some good talent being developed. Let's see. Dr. Baker is one of the most promising bowlers in Lynn. His style is peculiar, but he makes some excellent scores. Instead of using the finger holes in the ball, he palms it and makes what is known as Cocked hat shots, which generally give him a strike. Mm. Yeah, nearly all who roll on Eureka alleys play Duckpin. If you want to read the rest of that, feel free to pause. Otherwise, the Lowell Daily Sun. Sorry if I mispronounced that. May 19th, 1894. Whoops. Gives notice of a Duckpin tournament. Bowling news. The Calumet and Salems rolled for the first time in the Duckpin tournament last evening at Les Miserables Alleys, and the former won by 89 pins in a close contest. The total of the winners was 40 pins ahead of the Glendon score of the previous night, and the single team string score beat the Glendons by 5 pins. Okay, you can read the rest of that if you want. Hey, duckpin setters. Oh, sorry, duckpin bowlers in 1936. Look at that. They got their fancy shoes on. This dude's probably smoking a cigarette through a fancy holder, or did only the women use the cool holder? Mm-mm-mm. They look like they can really roll a duck ball. Duckpin ball? I don't know. Accomplishments and record scores. Let me see if this is worth reading. Number of games instead. Bowler name, score, average. Bowler name. Probably not. We've got stuff from 92, 78, 94, 88, 84, 82, 73, 88, 2005, 2016, 2013. Yeah. In 1999, Sports Illustrated named Elizabeth Toots Barger among the 50 top Maryland athletes of all time. That is a household name around here. We're always like, yeah, man, that person bowls like Toots. Is what people always say around here. Go to the community center. We've got a real Toots back at our household. I don't know. We just call her Toots. Having claimed 13 NDBC number one rankings for having the highest female duck pinner average. She won 9 world championships, which sounds like it's just the United States, and those 7 states, 9, 7, 9, 9. And in 1961 became the second woman to be inducted into the Maryland Athletic Hall of Fame. So that was 99 that Sports Illustrated named her among the 50 top Maryland athletes of all time. How long is her entry? Oh, she's actually got a little bit of an entry here. She was married to a plumber, okay. Dubbed Tootsie, I guess, by her aunt. Oh, so that's Toots, not Toots. Died at 85 and 98. 85 years old in 1998. Cool. I might as well read this whole thing real quick. Elizabeth Toots, Toots. Barger, born March 30th, 1913, died September 28th, 1998, was a Baltimore, Maryland duckpin bowling champion. She was born Mary Elizabeth Ryan in Hamilton, Maryland, and graduated from Eastern High School in 1931. Dubbed Tootsie by her aunt, which she later shortened to the nickname Toots. She married Ernest Barger, a plumber, and they had 2 children. Barger began duckpin bowling in 1939 when she played in her cousin's duckpin league in Baltimore. Popularly thought to have been invented in Baltimore in 1900, the sport of duckpin bowling reached the height of its popularity in the 40s and 50s. The Baltimore Evening Sun newspaper sponsored an annual tournament from 1925 to 1968, which was often broadcast on local television. Barger won that tournament 12 times in 22 years, including 6 consecutive wins from 1946 to 1951. Right on. She was ranked the number 1 duckpin bowler by the National Duckpin Bowling Congress 13 times during her career. She also was a 3-time winner of the U.S. Classic and a 7-time winner of the Dixie Classic. Those are meaningful to me. Hailed as Queen of Duckpins, Barger was a local celebrity. She and her husband owned the Libertytown Bowling Alley, where Barger gave bowling lessons. Barger retired from the sport in 1961 and stopped bowling entirely in 1995 after 2 knee replacements. That's fair. Barger was inducted into the Duckpin Bowling Hall of Fame, Anne Arundel County Sports Hall of Fame, and was the second woman inducted into the Maryland State Athletic Hall of Fame in 1961. She donated a number of items to the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, including a bowling ball engraved with her nickname Toots. Toots. It's probably Toots. In 1991, Sports Illustrated published lists of the greatest athletes in every sport of all time from each U.S. state, including Barger on Maryland's list at number 50. Oh, they just barely put her in. Come on. In 1992, she led an unsuccessful campaign to make duckpin bowling the official state sport of Maryland. And now we've got jousting as our official sport. Like, no, duckpin bowling. But I kind of wish she had succeeded because I don't know, jousting. Unless I have an abnormal Maryland experience, jousting isn't like a thing that Marylanders are like, yeah, joust. I mean, we're excited about it because it's our state sport, if I understand correctly. Um, but let me see this list. Maryland. Okay, jousting and lacrosse. Lacrosse makes sense because it's like every Marylander's played lacrosse, which I say having not played lacrosse. I mean, I've played it, but never actually competed or whatever. Never put on a jersey, but like lacrosse should be a state sport. Jousting, I only know of like 2 places where you can see jousting. There's this weird like dinner show, I guess, called Medieval Times, and I think they do a jousting show there. I've never actually been. It sounds kind of weird. And then we also have a pretty big Renaissance festival here, and I think there's jousting there. I've never actually been to that either. Kind of uncultured in that regard. But lacrosse should definitely be it because it's a huge thing in Maryland, apparently much bigger than it is in any other state. And duckpin bowling. I mean, if duckpin bowling was the official state sport, people would actually recognize that it's not all throughout the United States. Like I said, I had no idea that it was a very small regional thing. So I don't know. It would be nice if more people recognize that. I'd be willing to bet most Marylanders, at least in my generation, have no idea. Anyway, Toots Barger died She died on cancer. She died of cancer at a retirement home in Frederick, Maryland, 1998. I'll try to remember to go back and edit that to say died of cancer, unless she died on it and I'm just understanding incorrectly. Okay, short bit left here. Variants. Rubber band duckpins. In 1905, a variant called rubber band duckpins was introduced in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area by William Wutherley, in which the pins are circled with hard rubber bands to increase rebound action in collisions, and therefore scoring. Wutherley observed bowlers wasting their third ball as well as flying pins injuring pinboys, so according to a defunct publication called The Ducks, Wutherley added the rubber band to increase scoring. The American Duckpin Congress was formed in the 1920s to govern the game of rubber band duckpins. The organization later became the American Rubber Band Duckpin Bowling Congress in 1945, the year after the war. They're like, well, finally, let's do this. And became an affiliate of the National Duckpin Bowling Congress. The rubber band game is now almost extinct, with most of the lanes located in private clubs. Sneak in, gotta give a passcode when you knock on the door to be able to play rubber band duckpin. Though there is one alley in the U.S. still open to the public in Glassport, Pennsylvania. As of 2018, rubber band duckpins was mostly limited to Quebec, where it is called Petit Quille. I don't know. There have been perfect games bowled in rubber band duckpin, including the largest duckpin prize ever won on television, that being Canadian money, I guess? Yes. $50,000 Canadian in 1994. Since it is easier to knock down pins in rubber band duckpin, its rules are identical to those of 10-pin bowling. I suppose that is emphasizing the fact that you do not get a third roll, you only get 2. Mini duckpins. In mini duckpins, the lane is shorter than a standard duckpin lane. and the width of the lane is not standard. While there has never been a sanctioned perfect game in regulation duckpin bowling, 300 games are said to be 300, that being the score, the perfect score, 300, games are said to be relatively common in many duckpin play. Comparison with 10-pin bowling. The USBC, United States Bowling Congress, reported that there were 55,266 certified 300 games in 10-pin bowling in the 2013-2014 season alone. That's a lot. Over 50,000 perfect games in the 2013-14 season. But there has never been a certified 300 game in duckpin bowling. A Connecticut man named Pete Signore Jr. came closest with a 279 game in 92. Must have been frustrating. So we saw that cool picture back in 1936. That's coming on 100 years ago. It's wild to think of. Doesn't feel like it should be that long ago. This 1915 U.S. patent shows a duckpin in which a band of rubber or other resilient material, 11, right here, is placed in an annular peripheral groove or channel 10. Cool. 1915. And a mini duckpin alley in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Okay, that is shorter than I expected. That is like really small. And look, they've even got strings on the pins to just like flunk, you know. And it looks like those are banded, rubber banded. Yeah, that would be, I imagine, significantly easier to just absolutely pummel the ball down there. Cool. That was interesting. Yeah. I like I said, I had no idea that. Well, yeah, I've beat that horse already, I think. As for whether it actually is from Baltimore, looks like so. Research has since found references to it as early as the 1890s in Boston, but it certainly seems like it took off in Baltimore. Um, not trying to steal Boston's thunder, but it definitely looks like the Baltimoreans took over duck pin bowling. Anyway, this is long enough. Cheers.